Hello, everybody, and welcome. I'm really excited to be here today because we've got a really lovely interview lined up for you with somebody who is a wonderful, fascinating person, actually, to have a chat with. And essentially, that's what this is today. It's just a big chat with a musician who is very well known in India, certainly, but I want to dive into that a bit more with him when I bring him on. Before I do all of that, I'm just going to make sure that we are live, um, on Facebook. So just bear with me. Bear with me. Okay. So fingers crossed. Everybody on Facebook should be able to see this interview that we've got lined up now. So my guest today is somebody who is part of what we could call the pioneering, the changing force of rock and metal in India. Certainly has heralded a new generation of being progressive in the world of tech and metal in the subcontinent, but quite rightly so, is also well regarded in the rest of the world as well. As part of Undying Inc, he's the bassist, but he's also a solo artist in his own right as well. But why he's here today is because I believe that this person has a lot to share when it comes to other values that I think we all could encompass to be able to lead a much more fulfilling life. And so I want to talk to him today about some of those things that he follows, the practices and beliefs he follows. But we'll also, of course, touch on his music career. He is, of course, Ezra Helios. So welcome. There he is. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Pimi, to have me here, and it's my pleasure. And I'm so happy for this
Yeah,
chat.
that's what I think is great about you. You're always so happy. You've got wonderful positive energy, and that was one of the reasons that I particularly wanted to have you on today. It's a real joy to have you here. How often have you heard that?
Thank you. Um, yeah, I've heard it a lot, and it's something people see more than me. Oh, we love your energy, and I don't know what they see
Talked about that, haven't
every
we?
time I'm.
Yeah, I know. I know that it was one of the things that you were saying to me in the past. Is I'm always wondering, what do you see in me? And I have a clue around that. I know that we're going to dive back into that topic a bit more later, but in that, I think it's less of what people see and more of what they feel.
Yeah, yes, that makes more sense. Yeah.
Anyway, look, Ezra, let's first talk a little bit about what it is that you have been doing, where you're from, what brings you, where you are now. Let's try and connect all the dots together. Now, I know that you're based in Delhi, but you are from a part of India with some really also fascinating roots as well. And I know that plays a part in the way you are as a person as well, which is another topic that I want to touch on. You're from Haryana.
Yes.
I know that you, I'm also, for viewers as well, my heritage is Indian, but we've got quite different backgrounds, haven't we?
Yes.
I grew up in London. You grew up in Haryana in India. And but however, there are some very interesting synergies there with regards to the background in rock and metal, which is my long ago past, but not forgotten. But what I want to talk to you about also, firstly, is just touching on your background, your family background, your upbringing itself, because what I find interesting is how, of course, that's not something so common that we see from, you would probably agree that you came from a fairly conventional Indian background,
Yes. Yes.
and that your father, if I remember rightly, had quite a specific style of bringing you up, you and your siblings. And I think if I remember rightly, we were saying it was almost quite militant at times, and structured might be a nicer way of putting it. And yet, here you are. You seem to be someone who is so far removed from that kind of way. Or am I wrong? What impact did your upbringing have on you, considering where you are, a rock musician, metal musician, with this amazing beard, which we'll also talk about later on because we have to.
So I give all the credit to my upbringing, my parents, and I'm so grateful for that. When I was kid, I didn't know, a lot of things, what's happening and what's going on. But when I look back, I'm very, very grateful for my parents and the way my parents, did the parenting, and it's amazing. My father was not someone who will, make you sit and give you lessons. No, he will put you in situation where you will find your own lessons. So that's how he did with me. So he was very, very straightforward, very straight. Get up, do this, that all the time. I was like, why is angry all the time? But he was aware. It was not, he was very much aware what he's doing. He prepared me and my brothers in such a good way. Like, we don't feel uncomfortable anywhere in our own company, and you put us anywhere, we are good to go. So, and this is something big in today's world, and it was so normal to me. When I see a few of my friends, they can't even spend 10 minutes alone and things like that. So I don't know. I mean, it was very normalized for me. But there's so many other things. Yeah,
Do
like
you mean with regard
I'm.
to the focus that he gave you this sense of focus, not just a sense of structure, but this focus in life?
Yes, he always, focused. He was very focused on the things like which add value to your life, which will make you. So there was no scope of you just sitting and wasting time. No, get up, do this and do this. All the things, every single thing I look back is like so much adding value, and I'm all because of that. I'm very happy in that way. And yeah, so many things like full of confidence. I've never seen that confident man in my whole life as my father.
Of course, he's no longer with you anymore,
No, no.
unfortunately.
Yeah.
But it sounds like he certainly left an impact. And it's interesting because can you tell the viewers just a little bit about the Haryana culture as well, in terms of how that has played a part in who you are today?
So Haryana culture is like you can say the warrior culture or the Spartan culture. So if you see all the medals of India in the sports, most of them come from Haryana. Athletes from Haryana, they win the medals for India in most of the sports. So it's all about you have to be physically fit, mentally fit, and stay focused and be stubborn for your goals. So these are the main roots of the culture where I come from.
It's so interesting because obviously, having grown up in this quite traditional Indian family, you chose, however, a path that was so far removed from what one would expect. And it's not just within India, but, unfortunately, maybe there are quite polarized views, quite, smaller, narrow views about India. And it might surprise a lot of people that there is this huge rock culture, huge metal culture as well. And however, you chose that way. Would you call yourself therefore, or would your family have described you as the black sheep?
So I chose music. Metal came later. And I just chose music. I wanted to be in music, and that was itself like being a black sheep. And my parents had no idea what you're going to do in music. I mean, it's a hobby.
Yeah.
Become a doctor, engineer, and it's the old school of thought. And yeah, it was very difficult. So when I decided to come completely into music. Like I was like, okay, let's jump it. Let's jump completely because I didn't leave any option for myself for other things because I didn't apply for all any colleges, any engineering colleges. My father was like, "What are you doing at home?" I was like, "I didn't apply for anything." He was like, "What? You wasted your whole year? Do you even know how a whole year, the value of the 1 year?" I'm like, "Yeah." And those 1 2 years were very harsh. And one day, as I told you, like he was not the one who will sit with you and giving the lessons. No, he was always to the point, do this, do that. But after seeing me at home and just thinking what I'm going to do, so he only gave me one advice, and I still follow that. I think the one advice is much more than a lifetime for me. I'm still working on that, and that was, he told me, I don't know what you're going to do. I have no idea. But I'll tell you one thing, whatever you're going to do, make sure you gain so much knowledge that even if you lose everything you earned, you
Mm,
stand strong and super confident because you know that all of that you can build it again because you have the knowledge. So
I love
that was super strong. Like only one thing he gave me, and that was like much more than like anything else I have. And I'm working on that. I'm living like that still.
it.
It's a lot to do.
It's beautiful homage to your father to be able to still treasure those values. Um, and in some ways, it's interesting because I think wherever you are in the world, artists have always had a difficult time, obviously, and
Yeah.
not necessarily well funded. It's a scary decision to jump with both feet in to that kind of a field, especially in India, and to face potentially the criticism of people who just do not value or understand those kind of decisions. Did you face anything like that?
Yeah, mostly my father was angry at me, like you're making a wrong decision. But slowly he saw few things. I joined Delhi School of Music. I started learning Western classical music, and I was doing good there. So they used to send all the time letters at my home. I got distinctions and I'm getting scholarship. My father was very happy with that. He was very happy. Oh, he's doing something and he's doing good. And then I started teaching, and I had all the foreigner students, and like most of my students were foreigners. And I told my father, like, do you know I teach foreigners? He was like very happy. Like, I teach people from France, from Britain, from America. They're living in Delhi, like mostly
Right.
CEOs of the company. And he
Isn't that
was like,
interesting?
really?
Yeah, a lot of especially that generation of
Yeah.
Indians, they will always have that. There's always this thing about Western culture, despite the fact that with the history and colonialism, but there's still that hang up, and
Yeah.
obviously it's almost like a stamp of approval, isn't it, or validation for you to be teaching these foreigners, but also. How about when you were in? I mean, I think when I remember when we were speaking before, you were telling me a lot about your your school life, and this feeling of being different to other people pervaded your life in general, and that you found yourself very much different to other people, questioning that and comparing yourself when you were young. How did you deal with that?
Yeah. It was very difficult to be fit in that society. I was all the time, I'm like, I'm at wrong place. I'm at wrong place.
Mm,
And people, I have friends from all over the world, and they tell they're coming from, they were bullied in school, and they have like classmates bullying them. And I'm like, where I come from, my teachers were the biggest bully.
right,
They bullied students.
right,
So and students, they were bully, teachers were bully, like, but
yeah,
I didn't have to face problem with the bully because I was um, grown up in a different way. I handled it very well, but I was like, I don't want to be at this place. when I was in school, I was like, what is this place? It was not like people were bullying me and I'm, facing a lot of problems. It's like I was looking at people bullying each other and like, what's going on? I don't want to be part of this.
Right.
So all the time. So yeah, that was a difficult time, but at home, family was good. So after
Mm.
school, I used to go home, and my family was very protective, and it was like totally different world. My brothers, I'm the youngest one. I have two elder brothers, so everyone is very protective, and I'm grateful for my childhood and everything, but not the school part, but the family part.
But having said that, you must have experienced some kind of pushback against this music career from your parents. And so, how did you defend that? How did you stand up for that?
Well, that's how my father did. That's how my father, did what he had to do. He so I'm stubborn, and he made me stubborn, I think, because stubborn for your goal, whatever you want. So make sure you don't give up.
Right, right.
Well, I didn't give up, but I don't think he had to face. He was like, okay, he's not giving up. So, but he was the one who bought me guitar. He was
Oh,
the one who
beautiful.
and he was the one who paid all the fees when I was learning music. So,
Yeah, amazing.
so like my family was very, very supportive in that way.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's I think really testament to belief in your child when you can put aside your own wants, desires, and needs for them, and let them individuate and be out there. And especially when it comes to artists, I always believe that the life of an artist is divine, and that we have this ability to channel something that is just so very not very present out there in the world, but there is something within you that potentially sets you apart, but also that if you tap into that source, it's something divine. And therefore therein, if you're not following it, if you're not a practicing artist but you have those artistic instincts, it's almost like you're walking around without a limb or something. You are not being authentic. Would you agree?
Yeah, I mean, being an artist, the starting years are difficult. With I think with everyone, starting years are difficult. We develop, we learn things. Especially, we learn things about ourselves.
Right.
I mean, that's and when we start seeing things in ourselves, and then we start seeing things are changing outside when things are changing inside. It's so connected to each other. And so being authentic, once you start being authentic, and it takes time, because the cultural conditioning around us is super strong. So when you start exploring your inner world, and then you become authentic, and then you see things are changing, and things you want to create as an artist, they are changing. It's something like whenever you sit for creating something, the universe is opening the door. Now it's open. Come, take it.
Mm.
But it takes time to be at that level, because we have to work on ourselves, our inner world. Like it's all about self development, being authentic, because no one else can play you better than you.
I couldn't agree more. I couldn't agree more. And I just want to ask the viewers, if you have anything to comment on that itself, please post your comments now. But I love that you've said that, because there is this whole there's a fine line between what you were saying earlier about being stubborn and inheriting that trait, the Haryana culture, also being strong, focused, and resolute, but also that trueness to who you are and to your spirit. And I think it's very important for all artistic people, but in general, when choosing to follow your purpose, you have to be very brave and very intentional, right?
Yes, because if you like when we talk about the confidence and believing in ourselves, like if you don't believe in yourself, then who else will? It's it's that simple. So sometimes we tap into, others' energy. We look people, we look celebrities, we try to be like them, and the sad part is we forget ourselves.
Right. Very, very, very true. And I want to talk to you about that now, also about the comparing, because I know that you have this wonderful story of later on in your career when you were actually, I remember you saying that when you were first learning to be a musician, and your teacher would take you to these concerts, and was the one, if I remember rightly, who introduced you to the world of metal and rock, and certain bands whom he described as being really sophisticated and complex in style, and sort of opened your world up, and you were fascinated, if I remember right, by this culture and the way people were responding to this music. Um, so then cut to some years later, and you yourself were asked by the very people who you would compare yourself to, these celebrities, these people who were doing so well on that scene, and you were asked to actually join their band. How on earth did this, how did this shake up your world for you?
Things started changing a lot, and I remember when I used to go to my teacher's home. Mostly we were having lessons in Delhi School of Music, but sometimes he used to call me at his place for lunch, and we'll have one extra lesson there because he saw me. I'm completely into music, so he tried to help me as much as he can. So and he used to show me the magazine Rock Street Journal, and where he used to show me, look at this band, this is very complex, and this is known for this thing, this is known for that and that. And yeah, I remember so many names. And later on, after a few years, I was in Mumbai, and I got a call from band Undying Inc, and they were like, would you like to play bass with us? I'm like, wow. I was like, I couldn't handle that thing. I was like, yes and no at the same time, because because I was like, I want to play, but I don't know I'll be able to play that difficult music or not.
Right. How did you
And they were
build
like,
belief? How did you get over that mind hurdle?
I didn't have to do much because they were more confident about me. They were like, oh, forget about that, but just tell us you want to join or not. I'm like, obviously, yes. So we'll figure it out, and you will be good, and yeah, we'll do that. Then there was a gig in Mumbai, and I was waiting for them. I thought they will come 2 or 3 days before, so that we can have some practices.
Right.
But they didn't come before. They came the same day. And I'm
Oh,
like, are we going to the jam pad for practice? No. I'm like, you didn't even see me playing.
oh my God.
Oh, we'll see in the sound check. I know you must have practiced and you'll be good. And we did one rehearsal in the sound check, and it was good. And that show was really, really tight and so good. It was like unbelievable. And
That's incredible.
like I remember when we got off the stage, our vocalist, he came and hugged me so tight.
Yeah.
How did you do that? I'm like, what? He was like, it's such a difficult music, and I saw you jumping also, you going here and there, and you playing every single note. Like, how did you do that? I'm like, I don't know. Everything was flowing, and it just happened, and
Yeah.
I'm part of that band, and I'm so lucky to
Yeah.
be, as bass player of Undying.
And I love that you still carry that gratitude. You're still connected to, the fact that you are living this dream of yours as well. And I can tell that it means so much to you all every day. But there's also a part of you that I think the viewers would also really like to hear about, which is going back to that warrior energy and the energy, and the fact that in many ways this does tie in with how you aced that first gig, which was, it was like baptism by fire. In so many ways, it's part of your nature, I would ascertain, is that you allow things to be easy. You allow things to flow.
Yeah, I agree on that. I agree on that. It's just when we work on something, that's only then we get to that zone when things start to flow on its own. When the flow comes on its own. But I think spending time with yourself and the things you're doing, like I play guitar and bass, so spending my own time with the bass and like enjoying the music as I'm playing on stage. I
Sure.
don't like I start practicing just sitting on this chair, but last 2 days are like I'm actually performing. I'm just jumping around in my room like I'm playing on stage. And then when I don't have to think about what is next note and what's the next part,
Right.
when I'm that prepared, I only consider now I am prepared for the stage. If I have to calculate a lot in my mind, well, I'm not well prepared. So that's how I teach my students. So that's how I teach. It's like if I can play and I can talk to someone, then I'm prepared. If I'm like, oh no, 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 what's next? What's next? No, you're not prepared. So
Yeah,
practice more.
then, isn't there? And you're not allowing that creative energy to flow through, which is
Yeah.
so important. I've come across that in many performers, but not just performers. Also, I think in general, I think heart-centered people forget that they have this phenomenal gift, that they can connect very easily, more easily than other people, to be able to present themselves to the world. But sometimes they're so sensitive that they forget how to actually, that they've got this way of doing that, but they forget sometimes because they get so distracted by the outside world and being someone and fulfilling an expectation to the outside world. So I do want to ask you, how do you deal with that? How do you deal with when you're on a stage and you're facing so many people with their expectations, quite rightly? Maybe they've been following this band for 20 years. I know that they've been around for a heck of a long time. And you joined them, and you are a solid piece of that band. But then how do you deal with that expectation and not contract, not block that flow of energy, that beautiful creative energy that you're able to bring, to allow it to be easy?
So yes, now we started talking about energy. So when I practice for Undying Inc or my own solo performance, when the parts are done, everything is done. That's a separate thing. But after that,
Yeah.
I focus on how I want them to feel.
Right. Right.
There are people in front of me. It's not about what I'm playing, what I am doing, how I want them to feel. And after that, how I want to feel when I'm on the stage, how we all want to feel when we say music is divine, when you're done with all the practice, when you are uh, when it's flowing on its own, then you feel what's happening to you, what it's doing to you, rather than what you are playing, what they're doing, what the music is doing to you.
Right. So much. I agree so much. And one thing I think is beautiful in what you've said, that I think also, really taps into that inherently Indian culture anyway, when it comes the approach to art, full stop, art in all forms, is that there is this this beautiful acceptance that it comes from a higher source, which I love so much. There's an infinite respect for artistic energy coming through in the Indian culture as well. But that being said, and on this topic of energy, it's interesting to me because also because I see, and I know so many people see this too in you, this beautiful presence that you have, this calmness. And there's that. And then there's the rock and metal, the energy in rock and metal, which this is going to sound like I'm generalizing, but hear me out, because also this is one of my earliest musical loves as well. Can be translated sometimes, and even felt, as quite aggressive at times, aggressive and even angry at times, right? Especially if we're talking about
Yes.
metal. So how do you bridge this energy that, how does this happen? How do you synchronize the two? How do you perform in general in life, not just on the stage, being able to bring both of these together and synchronize them beautifully so that you feel whole and you are being authentic?
Yes. So when we talk about rock and metal, it's considered like, rebellion and music that's like angry and all that sort of, images it's created all around the world. But yes, I'll say yes, it's composed in that way, lyrics are that way. It's just when we talk about self-development, we talk a lot about suppressing emotions.
Okay.
Don't suppress them. If you're suppressing them, that's the problem. It's
Right.
about releasing them.
Right.
So so the type of music, the feeling in the music, the emotions coming out of music, it's like releasing them. It's not like adapting them all the time.
Right.
It's
Again.
it's like it's like we hit the gym, we do heavy weight training. If you look someone professional bodybuilder, it's like why he's doing that, because lifting so much of weight, and look at his expression, why someone would do that. And then you ask them, how did it feel? Well, it felt amazing, after the workout. It's like in different world. You are in different world. So it's the music, metal music is composed in that way. Yes, we are releasing anger. Like everyone is, dealing with all the emotions. It's not like, suppressing them. It's all about facing them and dealing with them and releasing them. So it's a good way to release. It's not like we are not smashing on the people. We are releasing it so we can stay calm.
Such a
And mosh pits are there. People are just jumping around. It's like if someone will look at them, what's wrong with them? They like listeners or audience, like they are also releasing it, and they feel so good. You meet after concert, musicians and the people. How are you feeling now? You will know what that music did to them. It's the music didn't make them angry. They
Well,
are very calm. They are very happy now.
that's so interesting you saying that. I mean, on the one hand, I think on the one hand, what's quite funny for me is if I remember my youth and going to mosh pits, going to concerts where you would be headbanging all night. And one of the things that we used to do was make sure that we had perfected our technique of a 360-degree rotation of our neck. I would be paying for it the next day. However, that was the litmus test of how much fun you had. If you had neck ache and were unable to move it was a sign of a really good time, a really good gig. Jokes aside, I think also what you're talking about here is intention. And, the release is very
Yeah.
important. All energy release is very important, isn't it? And it's like when we talk about, and here we're also diving into a topic that some might not expect us to, but when we look at the divine feminine, who is all about releasing energy in creative ways, but also not storing and allowing it to flow through. Even studies that have taken place into the releasing of tears, which so many people are brought up not to do, and they white knuckle through their emotions. But studies have shown that tears themselves contain toxins in our bodies that we must release. So in many
Yes.
ways, what you're doing is providing a really important outlet for people to express and to release that emotion.
Yes, when it comes to listening music, I'd like to say sometimes, we hear, oh, I don't like that music, I don't like that, I don't like that. It's just you want a particular emotion, you want to feel a particular emotion in that moment, and you didn't get that, now you don't like that music. So there
Right.
are two different ways of being a good listener. One thing is you know what you want to feel in that moment, and then you know your own songs, your playlist. That's one way. Other way, you surrender yourself to new music and you
100%.
let the music do the thing.
Right.
You don't take the charge, you give the charge to the music. Let the music do the thing. When we call the music divine, everywhere we music is divine, but we are trying to control it. Okay,
Yeah.
I want to feel this way. So now make me feel this way. I'm playing this song and I want this song to make me feel this way.
So
We're not
true. God, I
we're
love this.
not supposed to do this with the divine thing we call divine, and we're trying to control it. So I think we should surrender and let the music do the thing, and we can unpack it later what it did to us.
Yeah.
And then you will know what exactly that music did to you. If you completely, as a listener, you delve into it, only then you will know.
Yeah. I love that so much. And I love that you've also touched on one of my favorite topics there, which is surrender, related also to making things easy and flow. But I think that, and this reminds me of, there's a wonderful author out there, correct me if I'm wrong, anybody listening, Michael Singer, if I'm right, who wrote The Surrender Experiment and Untethered Soul. And one of the things that he learned to do was to stop questioning and instead use the word yes, or derivatives of the word yes, when it came to making decisions in his life. And it led him on this incredible, impeccable journey of pure, unbridled authenticity. And when I look at you, I feel like you've done a lot of that. You haven't questioned too much. You've just gone, okay, I accept, and I'm going to see where this takes me.
Yes, yes, that's so true. I remember uh, one day, a few years ago, when my friend asked me, we were in Delhi, oh, let's do a ride from Delhi to Mumbai, a bike ride.
Right.
How about that? I'm like, well, let's do it today, tomorrow. He's like, what? It's 1,600 kilometers, and you just want to go straight away. I'm like, is there a problem? So I don't know where it came from, but I think when I look back my childhood, like my father didn't set any limits in anything.
Okay.
So like even all the culture around, the Haryana culture, the warrior, athletes, like tired. What is, getting tired? You have to get up again and do it, and then you will get rest within the activity. And I actually felt that so many times, and it's so true. Like
Mm.
I remember when I used to go home, I used to see athletes, 10 to 15 athletes running on the road bare feet, and the temperature is around 45, 46 degrees. And when
Wow.
I'm just going home on my bike, and I know there is nothing 20 kilometers that side, nothing 20 kilometers that side, and I'm like, from where they're coming and where they're going.
Wow.
So yeah, I mean, growing up in that culture, seeing people doing hard work and
Mm.
being stubborn towards their goal, uh, yeah, it comes naturally. So that's very important. Like
Mm.
where
Love it.
you surround, the people around you, where your surroundings are very much important.
So
If
important. You
like
have to
people
be.
are limiting beliefs and how open beliefs, how limitless, how limited, all that things that makes a huge difference in their upbringing.
Mm. Sorry for interrupting you there, but yes, you have to be open to that, though, don't you? And I think, you know, this is maybe the problem with so much of the world today, is that we perhaps question too much and don't accept enough. Because obviously, once we accept a situation, are we able then to look for the lesson, the growth, the way to move forward? And I think in so many ways that when, you know, people are growing up in places like India, where so much of hardcore life and its challenges are present wherever you go. You just have to jump in a rickshaw and you will see it right in front of you. Take a walk down the road, you will see the stark truth of people living tough, deprived lives. But if you're always like hiding from that, which I am starting to see more and more of in some ways among certain people, you know, with their tinted glass windows, and, you know, there is this resistance to accepting what is there and therefore finding a way through it.
Yeah, it's very deep thing in that is when we think about, controlling mind, we always think about one person controlling the other.
Right.
The first thing comes to mind is one person is controlling other in different relationships in the offices, whatever. When there are many people, so the controlling mind, and it's always with people. But the more deep thing is that we try to control situations, we try to control places. Okay, I went to that place and I didn't like that. Why? Because you wanted to make that place make you feel in one particular way. You
Right.
want those people to make you feel in particular way. That's one part of the controlling that's not on the upper surface. It's deep and it's playing a lot with you.
Yeah, and I think that's a timely, wonderful lesson as well. In that there are so many people. There are people watching today. There are people that I work to help as well, and I know you do too, who are seeking more from their life, seeking more fulfillment, success. And it's one of those timely lessons for them to understand, is to let go in order to gain.
Yeah. So what I believe is everyone come to our life, situations, people, everything. They come to serve.
Yeah,
It's like it's up to us how open we are.
right.
You know, like universe sent someone. Okay, I'm going to meet someone today, and if I'm not open, then I was like, I don't know, I didn't like that person. He was like very, very soft, very calm. I don't know, but because you wanted someone very happening with that high energy, you were very particular about that. But when you open, then you see what this person has, to give to you. And because we are human beings, we are social beings, we are spiritual beings, and we own our own puzzle, and parts of the own puzzles are with others. If we are not open, we are always missing out of something. We are always feel something is missing, something is missing. We are not open because there's someone who's holding the part of our own puzzle. We are
Yeah,
not open for that person. And when we go to the path of awareness, and the first thing we see, oh, the things were very close to me and I couldn't see it.
right.
Every single person experienced this. Those who go to path of awareness, self-development, every person experienced this. Things I was looking for, they were very close to me.
Oh,
It's
so
it's
I love that so much. I'm going to, before we wrap up, I just want to touch on a few of the comments that people have kindly shared. Sarita, she says it takes a very deep level of development to be neutral in every environment. I see every action you take is taken under a mirror and consciously steered and practiced. Beautiful, beautiful personality and such a great example. That's such a wonderful. Thank you so much, Sarita. That was a lovely, lovely comment.
Thank you,
Um,
Sarita.
and there's some lovely. So many people have agreed with things that you've said here. Even earlier on, so true. Ezra Helios says, and beautiful how you can use music in that matter, and it is a wonderful blessing, isn't it, that
Yeah.
you've come on this journey, but now you can even take that even further, and how you can help other people heal effectively and grow. And with that being said, what I would like to ask you is, what would be the number one goal for you in how you would, what kind of impression, what kind of way you would like um, your message to be felt in the world today, how you would like to imprint that on the world, and how do you want to make a difference effectively?
From last few years, I'm working a lot on the self-development, and I realize that music is one of the biggest tool or divine thing I have, and how to use it, and and so many other things. What else I can do? So all of my songs which are out there released, those are the songs belong to the time how I felt in that particular time. And now songs I'm working on are how I want to feel people in my life, how I want to feel people, those who are working on the self development, or those who are not working on the self development. I want them to jump into the self development. So I'm working on the music in that way more now, how I want to feel, how I want others to feel. And my new album is all about self development. Even the lyrics are also, and
Beautiful.
when putting a positive impact on the world, on the people, I thought I need something more. So
Mm.
I joined a life coaching course, and I needed more tools, and I'll be learning more and more whatever is there out in the world which can help me in my self development, and I can help others on their self development journey. I'm going to learn everything.
Yeah,
So
that's wonderful. And I love that so much. And of course, we can't close without talking about something extremely important, because all of your wonderful ethos has to, of course, match up to the extremely high frequency of your amazing beard.
high frequency beer. I will always remember this name, high frequency beer, which you gave me, and I love it so much.
This is just a
It's
nice little
amazing.
in joke there. But can you tell us all? I actually think it's more than we can more than laugh at that. I'll come to that in a minute. But how long is your beard currently, and how long did it take you to grow it?
Okay, wait. So you can see it's
God,
it's longer than my arm. I cannot hold it completely.
look at that, people! Look at that, and look at that. That's amazing. I love it so much. But also, you know what? It's testament to the power of patience, focus,
Yeah, to me, it's a patience, it's a determination, and
stuff.
being stubborn for what you love.
I love that. I love it. I love that so much, and how that all ties back full circle to
Yeah,
you, the way you were
it's
raised, and your father even, who's made
yeah,
clearly such a
it's
big deep
everything.
in your life.
And it's not like some for some reason these days beards are in trend, and I didn't start growing for that reason. I
Okay.
because I love it, I like it. It's not about fashion and trends. It has nothing to do with that. So
It's a very big part of your personal brand now,
yeah,
if not the
that's
personal brand.
I remember it's interesting, because of the beard when I visit from some places after a year or two, and sometimes, people, some same cafe, sir, you are coming after 2 years. And I think, oh, yeah, exactly. Wow, how do you remember? Say your beard.
I love it. So before we go, I just want to ask if anybody out there has any questions in particular you want to post now for
Cool.
Ezra, and we can dive into those in the last few minutes. So hit us up right now. And while people are thinking of that, I'm just going to just thank all the people who have joined. I mean, there's some wonderful comments here. And Ajit says, thanks for the invite. Very interesting talk. And I am sure that a lot of people, Rebecca also says, wonderful discussion. And I know that there are probably, this is quite unexpected for a lot of people who are coming here today, might have been expecting much more of a conventional rock interview, of course. But there are so many fascinating layers to you, which is why I wanted to have you on today. And so yeah, it's
So while the questions are coming, I like to, give a message. Or
yes,
so it's like it's all about confidence. Like your page is all about confidence, and now I'm a life coach. So
confident, visible.
I chose my stream as an empowerment coach.
Mm,
So that's also all about confidence. So sometimes, what's the core of the confidence? What's the base of the confidence? It's the things you know, knowing the things you know,
yeah,
and just focusing on the things you know. And when we talk about that, it could be anything. It could be just a language, just cooking something, arranging something, the roadmap of a city. It could be anything. The
well,
when we look at the kids playing in the park, you can't say they these are not confident people. They are
right,
most confident the things they do. So but when we grow, we start taking seriously only those things which gonna make money in future, and we forget about everything else. And that's the problem where the confidence starts going low.
yeah, it's
So
so so.
we came here on this planet with a lot of confidence, and we're just the things we start focusing on the things we don't know. And it's sometimes it's not us, sometimes the society, the culture, people around you. Oh, you don't know that, or you don't know that, to reach there you need this, you need this, you need
Yeah,
that. All focus on things you don't know, but the real confidence comes from things you know, and it could be anything. If we make those things separate from, like,
yeah,
monetizing it,
yes,
how joy it's giving to you. Even playing video games, some people are so good in playing video games, and it's just and nowadays, now it's so funny, now it's making a lot of money. The games are a huge industry, playing games, people are earning a lot. So all the hobbies, passion, knowing that and feeling good about it, that's the basic core of confidence. So yeah,
yeah.
that's all I wanted to say about that.
I would echo his message there and what he's talking about, which is not to get distracted by the monetization around things, even in manifesting itself, which is
Yeah.
I'm a big proponent of. And I think what we tend to actually do and how we block what we want coming to us is because we typically wonder how will I survive, how will I afford, how will I sell? And we forget about all the other truth that is within us, the beautiful natural abilities that we have that need to come through first, and the rest will follow. Now, I just want to tell you that, okay, Rebecca, she actually wants to know what is, Ezra, what is the favorite song that you've written?
Beautiful question. I love all of my songs, and the favorite one is coming soon.
It's literally coming soon.
Yeah, yeah, I'm working on album, and I'm Rebecca gonna love it. I'm already sure about that.
I remember the cover of Chris Isaac's the Chris Isaac.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, the title escapes me. You will have to remind me. I love that song. Wicked Game. Wicked Games.
World was on fire. Yeah, yeah.
Can you just give us a little rendition for a minute? Come on.
Okay, I'll give you something, a little essence from my songs, as Rebecca said. So rather
This is
than
me, please.
so audio, I don't think how good it will be, but
It
it is
sounds
what it
perfect.
is. Yeah, it seems to feel like to see all of it was meant to be. Yes, it seems to feel like times to see all of it was meant to be. Are you healing? Are you feeling that we have come so far? Are you healing? Are you feeling that we have come so far? Don't stop what's coming and going. Life is flowing and let it be. Don't stop what's coming and going. Life is flowing and let it be. Are you healing? Are you feeling that we have come so far? Are you healing? Are you feeling that we have come so far? This is something from my upcoming album I'm working on, and this was for Rebecca.
Oh, it's a dedication to Rebecca, who also said, I was hoping to hear his voice here. And Sora also said, only one word for this man, dream musician Ezra Helios. He's a band member of yours, am I right?
No, he's not a band member. He's
Okay.
a very, very good friend, and he's also my student. And he's also a teacher by himself. He's a guitar teacher. Yeah.
Nice. Lovely. Saurabh says clap. Ajit says magical and hard to stop
Thank
listening.
you. Thank you so much.
I want to post, before we go, would like to post a link to your best place to find your music. You've done some amazing covers, as well as original music too. So would that be YouTube?
Yeah.
So where can people go?
So just type my name in YouTube, and it will directly take there. Yeah.
Okay, Ezra Helios in YouTube. Okay, that's the instruction. Okay, everybody. So with that all being said, I think we can just make sure that there's nobody else. Okay, so Hal has joined as well. Hey, lovely, it's good to see you together. And then basically, you've got so much love here, Ezra. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Dina, Saurabh, Rebecca. Thank you, Hege, Ajit. Who else did we miss? Anyone of those Sarita before? Yeah, Rebecca said wonderful discussion, and I think that is about everyone. And how any last points that you want to add? Any last closing message that you have for people who are seeking to lead a life of authenticity, the path of authenticity, also known as the warrior's way that you grew up with?
Yes. The portal of your awesomeness is lies within you. search inside and work inside, external world will change automatically.
Oh my God, that's probably the most important thing everybody needs to take away. I love that. Thank you so much, Ezra Helios, for joining me today. It was such a
It's my
pleasure.
pleasure. Thank you so much.
Such a
Thank you for
beautiful.
all the people who joined
Thanks
us and for the
everybody.
viewers.
Oops, let's get rid of. Well, you can find Ezra, as I said, on YouTube. Oops. I am now going a bit crazy with my banners, so let's hide that. You can find him on YouTube and just type him in, type in his name. There's so much out there about what he and also his band Undying Inc. are up to. And it's been such a joy to have you today, and we've uncovered some incredible topics as well. I just want to thank you so much for being game for that and sharing so much of yourself, because I know people out there will be taking away so much value from it today. Blessings to you.
I'll be more than happy. Yeah.
Yeah, look forward to seeing you again soon and what you're up to and the upcoming album as well, which is called, do we have a name for the album?
Not yet.
Okay, it's as yet untitled. Watch this space. Follow him on YouTube, everybody. Thank you for joining. Have lovely evenings, afternoons, mornings, wherever you are. And I will catch up with you next week with another wonderful person to, we'll have to, how are we going to up the game now? The pressure. And see you all again then. Thank you, everybody. Thanks, guys. Lots of love to
Thank you
you all.
so much. Yeah.
Please get out there, be confidently visible is my last parting words to you.